much for meeting with me tonight. I am so excited for you to share your story and your journey with everyone here in the Fashion Fix family. But before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and, of course, what everybody wants to know, what your body shape is, and your style profile.
Okay. So hi, Lindsay and the crew. I am body shape, I'm a straight,
Mhm.
and my style is classic and then boho and edgy.
Which
So
are my favorite. I love when we get to talk about your wardrobe or when I've done like shopping guides for you and stuff because boho edgy is so far on the other side of the spectrum than my style. So it's so fun for me to just like kind of make believe and play dress up in your world and like shop for those kind of clothes. I've always loved styling. I've always loved styling you. But okay, keep going. Tell us more about who you are.
so I am my early 40s, a single mom to a teen son, and especially after the pandemic, I was thinking about what is my style? Like, how am I going to feel good? I work remotely from home. I go into the office maybe one day a week, but it's super casual. We can't
Hmm.
wear like distressed clothes, like rubber flip flops, that sort of thing, but it's super casual. So it's almost like I have the problem of I can do whatever I want whenever I
Yeah.
want, which actually is not as freeing as you would think when you're in a rut, you're sitting at home
Hmm.
during the pandemic, not doing anything. And then everything came back to life. And I was like, I want to feel like
Yeah.
myself.
Oh my gosh, this totally reminds me. We had Corporate and Color guest speak at one of our meetups this summer, and they were like, "Who has ever been personally victimized by the term like business casual?" Like it's just like it's what you're saying. Like the options are so endless that you almost feel overwhelmed with what you can do, that you don't want to do anything, and so that really kind of forces your hand to be like, well then who am I really? So I need to narrow down my choices of what's going to work in my wardrobe instead of seeing it this big and feeling so overwhelmed by it, bring it here to like really align in a way that brings value for you. So is that kind of where you were at? Because I'm trying to think back when we, like, how long ago was when we first started working together? Because it's been a couple years now. So was that kind of when you reached out to Fashion Fix? Was when that turn was happening with work and going back to the office? Or tell me how you
It
kind of found
started.
us and how you started with Fashion Fix.
Well, I know I found you, it's been years. Um,
Yeah.
and I think it was because you were still doing like the Goodwill trips.
Yeah.
And I
I
don't even know
miss
how I came
those.
across you, and I loved it. And I was like, your values of what you were
Mhm.
discussing about you don't need like the brand new things um and you used to even say like I can't always link what I'm wearing right now. It's like a few years old. And I was
Mhm.
like, I want to feel good in what I'm wearing and not constantly chasing the next thing or the better option or this is the one thing that's going to fix my wardrobe. This is going to make me feel the most me.
Yes.
I don't want to feel that way. And it was kind of like starting fresh in a way. Like I had actually had kind of like a little bit of a weight gain. And it was like,
Hmm.
I don't want to feel frumpy. I want to feel like myself. I'm coming out to do more things. And I've
Hmm.
been a, a follower of yours for so many, like for a while at that point. And
Yeah.
so like, I was like, I really need to do my body shape analysis. Like
Yeah.
that, if I'm going to be buying clothes that I want to get the things that are best for me. So I think
Mhm.
that I might have started with like a seasonal when you do like the spring and fall like
Yeah.
I might
Hmm.
have started with something like that to be fair, but the first like big piece was the body shape
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah.
And at that point I was like telling everyone in my world like you really got to look at these things like because I like watch your stories daily. I like
Yeah.
soak up all of your information and I'm like how can I apply that to me? Like how can I apply that to the
Yeah.
beautiful women in my life? Like
Yeah.
so
I
like
love that.
I was like, you know, Lindsay from Fashion Fix? Like, I
Household
just
name,
assume,
household name.
yeah, I'm like, I assume everybody in my life should know by now.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I like what you said there too, is that you were kind of following along with Fashion Fix for a while, right? So you were watching what we were doing. You were kind of soaking in some of the stuff that I was teaching about, whether it be in try-ons or shopping in stores. And you finally kind of had this moment where there was a big enough change happening in your life, right? Like going back to work, you had a body size change where it's like, okay, I need to pull the trigger now on really finding out how all of these big ideas that Fashion Fix talks about, or Lindsay talks about, how they specifically apply to me. And, just for anybody that's listening, that's so common, right? I mean, that's why we're having these stories so people can be like, oh, I can do this. Like, even though it's not too late for me or, whatever it is, because we have people I'm sure that have been following along Fashion Fix for years and years and years and haven't pulled the trigger, in getting a body shape analysis or taking that first step. And don't be afraid to do it when the rubber meets the road and you have that change. And it's like, okay, now I really need to figure out how to apply these things specifically to me, to my body shape, to my style, instead of them just kind of being out in this like vague, big idea sort of place. Okay, so we did a body shape analysis. And before you did your body shape analysis, share with us a little bit about what, you kind of said, you alluded it to a little bit of like, you're always looking for the next thing, or you're constantly like turning over your wardrobe. Is there anything else about your relationship that you had with your wardrobe or with clothes before you started working with Fashion Fix?
I would say a few things. So
Hmm.
it wasn't like I was always chasing the trends, but it was kind of like, oh, that's kind of like in style. That's kind of cute. Let me just try it because it's like new or it's
Hmm.
summer now. Like, let me see what they brought out for summer. Let me see like what's new for fall. And so it was more like, oh, I like that. Oh, I like that on so and so, or I like that
Hmm.
on a mannequin. And so part of it was like just being
Oh, yes,
sold
that's such
items.
a good way to put it. Yep.
And so it's almost like, well, if I get this, then I'll look just as cute. If I look
Mm.
that, I'm ready for spring or whatever the case is. And so it was because I didn't really have a defined style of my own. I
Hmm.
felt like I was way more, um, way way more manipulated by that kind of idea,
Yes.
humorism. And so, and I didn't notice it, but it's there. The other
Hmm.
piece is by now it was like it's social media, Instagram, TikTok, things like that. And I'm like, I love that on that person. I love that on that. Well, let me try, which on one end, it's kind of fun because you get inspiration from other people, which I
Hmm.
love. But without knowing what suits your body shape well and what actually reflects my personal style, it's so easy to feel like you're wearing a costume or
Yeah.
something like just isn't matching up. The other thing I noticed was when I was going to go on a vacation or had like a wedding to go to or an event or something, my first inclination was like, well, what do I need to get for this?
Mm.
And
Hmm.
that's excessive. Like that's just I've done that for so much of my life that it was like I don't want to. Like things had kind of calmed down, I mean, in the world, right? And so it was
Yeah.
like paying attention to finances, being intentional with what I'm bringing into my home, what I'm spending my money on, what I'm spending my energy on searching for or shopping for. And it was just so much of what you were sharing where I was like, this aligns. Like I want to be intentional. I want to know what my
Yeah.
body shape is so I get the best things. Like we've talked about the fact that like I don't always like to wear jeans.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, if I'm gonna go buy jeans, like I want to know which ones are gonna be the best for me because
Hmm.
I'm not gonna buy a ton of pair of jeans and I don't want to spend a ton of time in the stores and then come home with something like I guess it's fine and then never wearing it.
Yes. Francine, I like want to just like jump through the screen and like hug you right now because I feel like you are just saying everything that is so the essence of what I want to get across with Fashion Fix, which is by being equipped with this knowledge and empowered with what you learn about what's actually going to add value to your wardrobe, it really helps shield you and give you some of the tools to push back against, excessive consumerism and comparison because it's not and what you were just saying is like, well, I was just buying everything that was new for spring or new for fall instead
Mhm.
of shopping for what was going to add value to your wardrobe for you, right? And it makes such a huge difference when you flip the script on that, but you need the tools and you need the resources so that you know what value means for you because it's different for everybody, right? And so I think that's what I'm hoping people get when they work with Fashion Fix is, and what I always say, when you're saying like being more intentional about what's coming into your home, there are better things to spend your time and money on than clothes. And so when you were spending so much time shopping every season and so much money every season, when you look back, it's like, wow, I put a lot of energy and resources into that. And now you're freed up to put those in other places. So when you signed up for your body shape analysis, what were you expecting? Because I think a lot of women are nervous, right? Like, what kind of pictures do I have to send in? What were you expecting, and how was that experience for you?
I think it actually took me a while to send in the pictures.
Okay.
I don't know what it is about like that first step. And
Yeah.
that was my first more in-depth introduction to Fashion Fix.
Yeah.
So I don't think I realized what the return was going to be. If I did,
Hmm.
I would have acted quicker. And if you recall, I had gotten one for my mom as well.
Hmm.
And so of course, after I did mine, I was like, get those pictures. Let me take them for you. Then it was like, no, we're not waiting around. But for me, I think it took a little bit to take the pictures. And, like I said, I had some weight gain and I was like, who wants to take full body
Hmm.
pictures of themselves? Like, I felt like it was just a little bit of a hurdle. And then once I got it back and there was so much information, I was like, what was I waiting for? Like, why didn't I do this before? And like I immediately turned around and was like, Mom, come on over. Let's see your pictures. Like, no dragging your feet. You're going to want to know this. And it was very, I think I didn't realize what my shape was. If I had guessed myself,
Yes.
even with all the information you share, because I couldn't get over the shape versus size,
Mm.
the shape versus depth. And I didn't, that just
Yeah.
clicking for me. And so once I got mine, and then you've spoken on that like many times, it was like, it finally was like, I was understanding it's the way my body is literally shaped. And
Hmm.
then I realized why it was like, I could look
All
back.
these clicks, all the light
Yes.
bulbs start
Like
going
all the
off.
dots, yeah, we're connecting. And I was like, that's why I struggle with that. That's why this. So I appreciated having like all the information, literally, like these are the type, like the thickness of straps we would recommend. This
Mm.
is what we would avoid. This is, and it was like some of it, I would say like a good chunk, I was like, yep, that's probably why I avoided those things. Okay, that's probably why I didn't feel pulled to that originally. But the other parts were like, okay, lock this in. So now when I
Mhm.
go shopping or I'm looking for something or even just looking through the things in my closet,
Yeah.
I knew what was going to work versus what wasn't.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying over all of this because number one, I understand that it can feel intimidating for some women to do. And I am so hypersensitive to that. So if you are out there listening, like we get that on our end as like stylists when we're asking you to send us full frontal, pictures of yourself, side profile pictures of yourself. Like, we totally understand how, like, the sensitivity to that for sure. But I like how you follow that up with saying, like, oh my gosh, once I did it and got it done, I was like, why did I wait so long? Right. And so, like, if anybody's out there kind of, thinking, hemming and hawing or on the fence of it, just like hearing you say, oh my gosh, I was so sad I waited so long. I made my mom do it right away. And then the other piece to that we find happens, I mean, I would say majority of the time, when women get their results back from their body shape analysis, so often we get an email back of like, oh my gosh, I thought that I was this, but now that you're telling me I'm this, it makes so much more sense why I was struggling to dress my body shape that I thought I was. Right? Like, and we really break down in that body shape analysis the difference, like you said, between size and shape, and giving you that understanding. Shoot, and there was something else you said about it that I can't think of. Oh, when you were like, oh, no wonder why I never liked this or never liked that. What I think it helps you do is it gives you permission to let that stuff go. Because so often when we think, oh, why can't I make A, B, or C work? We're riddled with that. And we're thinking something must be wrong with me if I just lose 5 more pounds, or if I was 5 inches taller, if my bust was 2 cup size smaller, like that would work for me. And when you realize it never will work for you, no matter how much you try to change your body, because it's not cut right for your body shape, there's so much freedom, right? That comes with that. So, um, okay, so since getting that, what other services have you used? Tell us, you got the body shape analysis, and then what else have we done together?
As I like, I think the morning that you did um, the
Style quiz.
style quiz. I was
Yeah,
thinking it
okay.
was the style quiz. I think I signed up like that morning when you did it.
Okay.
Like, because at that point I was like, I knew my shape, but I didn't realize the struggle I was having with style until you had kind of like teased it, kind of mentioned it. And I'm like, I think that's like for me because I think
Yeah.
I need that better direction. But when I've seen like other people or things talked about style, I've never felt like it was authentic. Like it was
Mm,
just a different I think the categories they didn't speak to me
yeah.
as much. And so I think with you talking about like, well, we have like kind of like your main style profile, and then you have these, that really kind of made more sense to me
Hmm.
because I'm not one who likes to always like be in a box, but I needed some boxes when it came to my
Yes.
style because I couldn't believe the amount of times that I felt like just not, it wasn't even like I was wearing a costume. It was just more like I thought this would be cute, but it's just not me. Like I just don't like it.
Yeah. I think what I remember, like I still can picture the pictures that you submitted for your style quiz. And that was how many years ago? This is just how my brain works, like how I remember clients and specific details. And what I remember, I think what was happening is you were pulling together all of these different elements and they weren't coming together right. Like individually, you would see these different pieces and you would pull them together in one outfit and it would kind of feel off. And it was like these little tweaks that we needed to make and little like kind of change in vocabulary and definition because specifically too with boho, that can get sometimes boho and romantic can get a little confused with each other. And I feel like edgy maybe wouldn't have been part of maybe I don't know maybe it would have been how you would have described yourself
Yep.
to really giving you that kind of pathway and that style to look at with boho and edgy together. It helped you understand how to bring all the elements in your wardrobe together better and then how to continue to add pieces in that would complement those and continue building up your look and building up your outfits.
100%. So probably my favorite, well, I would say probably my favorite thing has been the style quiz. Um,
Okay.
but I really love the style support package. So like those are neck and neck. But the
Yes.
style quiz, it was almost like when I describe it to like my family and friends, I'm like, it's almost like it's almost like a permission slip about like what your style is. But that's
Mm,
not the right word.
yeah.
What I would say is it helped me be so much more intentional with when I was looking at the clothes I already had, what I wanted to add, how I wanted to put things together, because it was like I used to feel like, oh, it was boring. Like my basic
Mm,
boring. Well, no, it's classic. I'm a classic style. And so
yeah.
once I kind of knew that's why I leaned toward that, it was less judgment about
Yeah.
me feeling like, well, that's just like so plain and boring. And it was like, no, but I choose those things because I feel like me in them. I feel my
Yeah.
best in them. So then I can use my other, boho or edgy to make it feel even more me and not
Yeah.
so boring to myself.
Yeah.
Not what other people would think, but to me it was like I realized, you know what, there were certain things I will gravitate toward because it's classic and I like it. And from my wardrobe, like I have a lot of more like staple pieces like this
Hmm.
that I like to wear. I love to wear dresses, I love to wear skirts, and I like certain colors, and that's what I'm going to go for. But it gave me the opportunity to look at that in a different way. It's not boring, it's classic.
Yeah.
I know what styles work for me based on my body shape. And now I have more freedom in the other things going into that. So I don't feel like I'm wearing a costume. I'm not wearing edgy
Hmm.
head to toe. I'm wearing my classic, and then I have the edgy
Yeah.
spin on it or the boho spin on it. And then I feel like me.
Yes. And
What
permission slip might not even be a bad word to use because I think it does do for a lot of women is it's like, oh, okay, this is giving me permission and helping me see who my authentic self is. because that's the thing that we want to happen with the style quiz is we want to help you discover your authentic self so that who you are on the inside can be reflected on the outside. And so often women, dress in a way to make other people comfortable, right? Or dress in a way to fit in or to align with like trends or whatever it might be. And really with the style quiz, what it does do is it does give you that permission to be like, no, I'm not going to do that. This is the lane that I'm going to drive down, and now I'm going to even go faster than the speed limit, right? Like, because I feel so confident about the lane that I'm in
Yes.
and the direction that I'm going that it is like full speed ahead in that. And that's one of my favorite things that I see happen, like with you and other clients, is just this awakening of, oh, this is who I am, and I don't need to try to change that or feel weird about it or think that's boring or think that's whatever. So, with that, have there been any other like aha moments that you've had after working with Fashion Fix? Like when you've gone to do, whether it's get dressed for something for your wardrobe or use your wardrobe to help prepare yourself for something where you're like, oh my gosh, this has all come together.
So many,
Okay.
honestly. I can give you a few examples.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. One thing I want to know is I think the reason I don't like the permission slip is because like I don't want that approval. Like we're not looking for
Yeah.
the approval,
Yeah. We're not looking for approval.
but
Yeah.
it's like it gives us a label, it gives us definitions, and that is what narrows it down.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that was like, oh, click, that looks edgy, that looks, boho. Like that's why I'm drawn to it. I'm not just out here swirling around trying to grab anything I get my hands on. It was intentional.
Yeah.
I knew what I was looking for,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would say there was one instance, and I looked it up because I was like, was this when I got my style profile? I had to like go and look. And so I had a wedding, and it was like cocktail attire, semi-formal, in a really nice location. And I was a little bit like, what do I want to wear? Like, and my
Hmm.
boyfriend was like the officiant. He was going to be dressing really nice. I was going to be by myself for the ceremony as he's up front. And I'm like, I want to feel good. And so I went shopping, and I definitely needed something nicer. In this case, I had to go shopping. And I remember like trying on a few things. And then there was one, and it just like hit. And I remember sending a picture to my sister and sister-in-law, and I like a little video. And I was like, I think this is it. And it's so funny because it's black, and it's kind of a satin material, and it has like a V. But the reason why I felt drawn to it, and when I look at it now, I'm like, it's because it's classic, and it's also edgy because it's actually like asymmetrical. So it's like full length on one side and cuts across, and it is cute and sexy and perfect. And I like put it on, and I was like, this is it. Like I can do this with a nude heel, and it was perfect. And so I got the dress, and I told my bro, okay, got the dress and stuff. He had to go early to get ready, like to
Yeah.
stand at the front of the aisle and all that stuff. And so I got there a little bit before the wedding, and he was like, and he like walked over at me. He was like, "You look amazing," and I was like, "I feel amazing." And for
Hmm.
someone like I just turned like 40, and I was feeling, like I said, I had some weight gain. To be able to feel like I'm going into this event where everyone looks beautiful and amazing, and we're in this nice location, for me to feel like I belong here, I feel good, and I'm
Yes.
just wearing what I'm wearing, and that was a confidence that making that
Hmm.
appropriate style decision for me was what gave me that confidence.
Yes, I love that. That was so like and this is an often a case that comes up a lot with clients that I talk to them about. Like when you go to these things, I want you to feel like your best self and kind of having what you're wearing being almost like an afterthought because I want you to show up to a wedding or to a family reunion or to somebody's birthday celebration and just be able to move about the night feeling like your best self and not tugging, pulling,
Mhm.
sitting down, covering, afraid to take a picture, not
Yep.
wanting to do, whatever. And so, like, when you can just feel that, like, that essence in yourself, you honestly, like, it just goes away when you're wearing, and you're just there, and you're you,
Oh,
and you're living your best life, and it's
I
such
was
freedom.
comfortable. I was so
Yeah,
comfortable.
comfortable.
I'm not like wearing tight Spanx to push myself into something that is in style right now. It was
Mhm.
it was perfect. and it had the mix of exactly what I like to wear. And I sat and I stood and I danced, and it was amazing. It was perfect. But that was probably
Yeah.
my first where I was like, because I was out of my comfort zone. I had to get something nicer. I had this event and I had the tools to be able to make the best decision for myself and feel
Yes.
good about it.
The
So,
tools to make the best decision for yourself, Francine. You are, oh my gosh, yes, okay, that is so good. What I would love for you to share about you, and just because I know this personally about you, because I've helped you with this, but you're a big traveler. And
yes,
so we've worked together a lot on your wardrobe for travel. So tell everyone a little bit how, your work with Fashion Fix and understanding your wardrobe and having the most value driven pieces has helped you be able to travel and pack for travel easier.
oh my gosh. That has been the other big light bulb moment, I would say, is so I have had a few trips the last couple of years that have been in just different climates. And I'll give you an example. A few years ago, before I started seeking these services, I went on a cruise and I ended up buying like all this stuff that I thought I needed. And it was that mad dash before vacation where you're just like buying all this stuff. Right. And I don't do that anymore. Like that is just not
Yes.
in my realm. Like I don't even. And so doing the
You're
style
at
support.
you're not at Target at like 11
Yes.
o'clock at night before you have to leave. Like, I don't have anything to wear.
Yeah.
And you're
I need an
you're
extra
just
top.
panic
Like, yeah.
shopping. Like, oh my gosh. And that's just the worst. Because that's when what I say, you overspend and you underbuy. You
Right.
spend a ton of money on stuff and it ends up not being anything that is going to work for you. But
Yeah.
okay,
And I
keep
bought things
going.
that I thought was like cruise wear or
Yeah.
whatever. I needed just clothes. I needed
Mhm.
clothes for me that felt like me and I was comfortable in. So doing this style support package, I jumped on that immediately when that was offered. And I was even like, what am I going to talk to her about every other month? That's what my package is.
Mhm.
And then, of course, I had these travels just in the last like year where I had very specific questions. So I went to a really humid location. And one of the things we talked about, like where I knew I was going to struggle, is I was in the Açores in Portugal, which I had been to the summer before. And I was like, I don't have the right clothes for this. And my boyfriend had even said, he's like, you really need that like athletic, quick dry material.
Mhm.
And that's where I was struggling. So you and I talked, and I'm like, here's the thing, I'm not sporty, I'm
Yeah.
not casual. That is not my jam. But I have to purchase things in this type of material, which I don't have anything except a few gym tops. And
Mhm.
I'm going on vacation and I want to feel good. And so you gave me some great ideas about the dresses. So I ended up buying
Yes.
them. I bought them online, and they were kind of like with the built-in shorts and all of that. And they ended up being perfect. So I got like some basic colors, and you gave me some really good tips on like shoes to kind of that be a little bit more me,
Mhm.
and like accessories. So I had like a crossbody, like get a crossbody with like a cute strap, and like, you know, through my accessories, I was able to feel just like me, even
Yeah.
though I was wearing a material, even though I wouldn't normally ever go for those like athletic dresses in my everyday life. It was perfect. I always try, if possible, to pack carry on only. So, and I did. I was there for 10, 12 days. I can't remember, something around there. It
Yeah.
was it was just shy of like 2 weeks. And I packed carry on only, and I had outfits and options, and I felt good. We went to fresh.
Yeah.
So it was like it was perfect.
Yeah.
I had accessory options, and I had what I needed to feel like me and be comfortable in that climate.
Mhm. And
And
then and be able to, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but like be able to come home and the stuff that you bought for that trip could still add some value to your wardrobe.
100%.
That's the killer for me when people are this like panic last minute shopping for vacation and they get the stuff and they come home and they have nothing to do with it. Like what are they going to wear with it now? So I felt like our strategy, it still offered some opportunity for those pieces to work into your existing wardrobe. So, okay.
For sure. That worked well. And then I went to Germany to the Christmas markets in December. So when we met in, I don't know, September or so, I was like, okay, now I have the opposite problem. I need more layers. I'm dressing for a cooler climate. And you were like, that's nothing like Minnesota, but it was colder than what I have here. And I'm like, I need things and I didn't want to just buy a bunch of stuff. And so, we talked about shoe options and I told you at our last, consultation that I ended up, they were spot on. I bought the cutest boots that were like winter and I wear them all the time. I get compliments every time I wear them. I got them from like Nordstrom Rack, but you gave me like, look for this, look for this. And it was like, you'll know in our calls, like I have my phone because I'm typing out notes. Like I have like a fashion,
Hmm.
if I have a thought any other time, I write in my note, like ask her about this, like talk about this, because I want to be prepared and maximize my time with
Yeah,
you to ask those questions. So while we're talking, I type in my notes and I'm
I
like,
love it.
what to look for. And I ended up doing because the thing was the pants. And you gave me some really great
Hmm.
tips on pants, but I was like, oh, and I ended up doing like, okay, would I really wear? I knew I would wear dresses and skirts. That's just what I like to wear. So I got like the thermal leggings. I had my really cute boots and I felt cute, like me, comfortable. And I was able to, everything that I did purchase, which was actually pretty minimal. I had a list. I had to get like, talked about like the shoes, a graphic tee, or graphic sweatshirts, like or boho style sweaters. And those are the things that I get compliments on. The things that I bought intentionally, when I wear them, I get compliments on them all the time. And I think it's not just the item, but it's how I'm wearing the item because I'm feeling good about myself. I like what I'm wearing. I feel like me. And I think that shows, you know?
Oh, 100%. I say this all the time. When you look at someone and they're like, oh, and you think that person is so well dressed or that person is always put together. It's not because of it's not because they have a ton of money to shop like the nicest, most expensive things. It's not because they have the keenest eye to buy the most in trend things. What it is when someone is well dressed, someone is put together, it's because they're wearing clothes that fit them, that are authentic to them, so reflect their style and who they are, and they're appropriate for the occasion. And what is that in Fashion Fix land? Shape, style, life. People will notice that in you. When you get I tell clients all the time, we'll put together an outfit on one of our like coaching calls. I just had a client this weekend. I was like, I want you to wear that this weekend to this thing, and I want you to tell me how many compliments you get on that. Like that is your homework to report back because it is when you're wearing things, and it wasn't like the craziest outfit, but it was something that fit her really well, was super authentic to her style, and was appropriate for the event and occasion that she was going to. Shape, style, life. Um, Okay, and then the boots. I remember those when you talked about those when you came back from your trip. That now you bought them to go to on that
Sure.
Christmas market trip, and you wear them all the time now.
All the time
So
now.
it's
Yeah.
awesome. So
I don't
where
think
would
I've
you?
bought any one-offs since we worked together. I even wore like that dress to the wedding. I wore it to another wedding a few months later, you know? And I was like, and I don't care. We took pictures, photos,
Yeah,
whatever, my boyfriend and I, and I'm like, I don't care because I like what I'm wearing.
yeah,
I
I
don't
love
care if I'm
it.
an outfit repeater when I love what I'm wearing and I
Hmm.
feel good in it. I'm
Yeah,
happy.
a
Yeah.
100%. Oh my gosh, that's so good. So where would you say now your relationship is with your wardrobe and clothes after you kind of come through this journey of working with Fashion Fix and the stuff that we've done together? Like if you look back before you started, before you did your first thing, and where you are now, like how could you sum up your relationship with your wardrobe and clothes now?
I would say I am a lot more intentional. I definitely shop less, spend less.
Mm.
The things that I do go for tends to be a little bit more quality.
Hmm.
But I feel like it's also with that permission slip again, it has me thinking of drilling down even further, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like one of the things we talked about at our last consultation is like I've realized certain fabrics, it's just not my style. Like, and now I
Hmm.
know my style, my shape, and now I can get down to the nitty gritty and know like the actual fabrics that I prefer wearing because I will
Hmm.
always choose those. So it's to me, it's like I'm not even just intentional, like I'm intentional all caps. I'm intentional
Yeah.
the outfits I'm putting together, what I feel my best in, what I'm going to spend my money on, what I'm not. I don't, I'm trying to think if I've had any of like quick fix items where I'm like, let me just get that and then I regret it.
Yeah.
Those are really few and far between. I'm trying to think in the last few months if that's even happened.
Oh
But
my gosh. Yeah,
yeah,
I could just
it's
imagine so many people that are listening to this right now where they're like, oh, geez, she is speaking to my soul, the quick fix purchases. If I just had this one thing, or let me just try this new thing, and like 6 months later, you're getting rid of it, or the tags never even come off of it. Like that's just not even coming into your closet anymore.
oh, not at all. And I think
Yeah.
I know it's kind of funny because even when I go to things, like we have a really great local boutique and they have the cutest stuff. But even when I go there, I'm like, sometimes they'll have like a smaller size or a larger size or whatever. They're very size inclusive. But I'm like, it's just not going to work for me. Like
Yeah.
it's not going to be the best fit for me. And I realized like the things that I would be like, oh, it's really cute, I'm going to get it. Like I know myself so well now in
Yeah.
this arena that I stop myself. So like
Yeah.
the cutest graphic tees, you know my style. Like I rarely wear graphic tees. Like
Hmm.
I'm not a t-shirt person. So they have the
Hmm.
cutest tees. I'm like, oh, I can look at it and laugh. Oh, that's cute, or that's a funny saying. I'm not going to spend my money on it because
Yeah.
I'm not going to wear it.
Yeah.
So it's given me that freedom to be like, I can look at something and think, oh, that's great for so and so, or I love her outfit. It's just not for me. I
Hmm.
know what's going to work for me and what isn't. And just because it looks cute on the mannequin at the boutique, I already know why it's not going to work for me.
Yes.
Move on.
Yeah, I think that's so huge when we talk about our relation. That's why I asked the question this way, like, what's your relationship with your wardrobe and your relationship with clothes? Because those can be two very different things. Because a lot of times women's relationships with clothes, it is this very aspirational way of thinking about them, or pure feeling kind of like this peer pressure, again, that comparison culture to have certain things or wear certain things. And that's our relationship with clothes. And when you're more empowered, and you have that permission slip, you have that roadmap for your own personal wardrobe. It helps your relationship with shopping and clothes look a little bit different and sometimes healthier too, right? Without feeling kind of that comparison culture and have and like keeping up and stuff like that. Um, what would you say to anyone out there who is sort of, someone like yourself in the beginning, right? Who maybe has been following Fashion Fix for a while or kind of has been, hemming and hawing or thinking about things, or maybe they're brand new to Fashion Fix. Like, what would you say to someone that's like kind of thinking about or learning about Fashion Fix? What would be your advice to someone that is like hasn't quite pulled the trigger yet?
Just dive in, pull the trigger. Just do it. There are no regrets. I haven't
Yeah.
regretted not one single thing.
Yeah.
And just because you dip your toe in and you start, whether they have to save up to get the next
Yeah.
thing, or they're not there yet in their wardrobe, or they don't have the funds to go shopping, or the desire, or their weight's fluctuating, whatever the case is, there is so much value in all of the things that you guys provide that
Hmm.
it is well worth the time and the cost of whatever it is, because
Hmm.
we save it on the back end. We're already
Yes.
that energy figuring out what am I going to wear, what I'm going to pack for this trip, what, you think about it,
Hmm.
reach out to you
Yeah.
guys, utilize the services. You do that thinking for us. You give us these
Yeah.
guides, these PDFs with all of the information at our fingertips to be able to utilize. And we're saving the energy. We're saving that time and energy. We're
Yeah.
saving money. Like literally today, I backslid on that. I have an event on Friday with my boyfriend. We're going to like a candlelight concert thing, and
Yeah.
we're getting a storm. Like I mentioned, we're getting a storm, and it's going to be supposed to be super rainy. And I was thinking all of the dresses and things that I have, we're going to get like a portrait taken when we're there, and I'm like everything I have is more like spaghetti strap or thinner. It's more summery. I live in California, so it's lighter. And I'm like, I can't wear that. I can't wear that out. And my first thought was like, let me pull up and see what I can find. Like it's Wednesday. This is Friday. And then I like it hit me and I'm like, oh, I have that dress because you guys do the um
The lookbooks,
no, it's not the lookbook, it's
the shopping guide.
the shopping guide.
Yeah.
And on your WEC, the
Yeah.
wardrobe checklist, it was like a black dress, right? Well, the
Yeah.
one I ended up getting was one that was in one of the guides,
Yeah.
I think about even a year ago. I don't even remember how long it was. And it's more of like it's like a 3/4 inch sleeve black dress, and it has like a crossover, and
Mm.
it's like a faux wrap. And I'm like, oh my God, that's like perfect, because a lot of my things are like sleeveless, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't wear this in stormy weather. I need something that has sleeves, that has something a little bit warmer. And I was like, oh, done. Like that'll be perfect for the concert. I will be
Yes.
covered, and I will be, and I'll still look nice, and I don't have to go shopping, and I don't have to feel frazzled about it. I can
Yeah.
just think like, how do I want to do my hair and makeup? What shoes
Yes.
do I want to wear? It was like, oh, thank God, like the relief. And then I was
Hmm.
like laughing because I knew I had this call with you, and I'm like, here I am, like I have to do that mad dash again, and that saved me time,
So
money, and
much time and energy. Yes.
hey,
Now you're ready to go. You're not panicking on Wednesday between now and Friday. When am I going to go? Because I have to pick my kid up here and take him here and do this thing for work and get this chore done around the house. It's like your wardrobe set. And there's better things to spend your time and money on than freaking out about clothes. So if we can take the energy, put that in up front, then when these times come, when you're traveling, when you're getting dressed for an occasion or just getting dressed for every day, all of the pieces come together so much easier with a lot less stress. And you're right. Like, the thing again, we were saying in the beginning of this conversation is a lot of what we try to provide our clients is tools to help them push back against overconsumption, overconsumerism, and a comparison. And I promise anyone, if you spend the, $100 or whatever on a body shape analysis, I guarantee you in a year's time, it'll save you 10x that amount on clothing that you would have bought, never worn, ended up returning, giving away 6 months later, sitting in your closet and hating it and feeling guilty that you bought it in the first place. Like, spending the time and money, this little, not little bit amount, but this amount, it's going to save you over thousands of dollars in the long run of stopping buying things that you don't like and never wear that you're spending your money on big time. So,
yep.
oh my gosh. Francine, your dream. I love working with you, and I wish I could see your mom again. I only got to have that one meeting with her, and she is just like the cutest. And I still remember the bathroom that her pictures were taken in. That wasn't it like pink tile or something like
My
that?
bathroom, yeah, because I told
Yes,
her
and I
that was
love
my like
that bathroom.
picture.
Oh my gosh, I love it. It was so fun to do that consultation with you and your mom. I love that. So, anyways, but thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm sure everyone listening is just so appreciative of you, like being vulnerable to share your experience, where you were before, where you are now. And I just love this. I love sharing the stories because it's the heartbeat of Fashion Fix. And everybody out there needs a little bit of encouragement, and everybody out there needs just to be able to see themselves in someone. So thank you, Francine.
100%. It's empowering, and you and your team, you give, you probably don't even know the scope of what you do,
Thank
like me
you.
and others, to help us live our best lives, to look
Hmm.
good, feel good, is huge. And
Thank
when
you.
I say I talk you up, I do. So if anyone is considering a service or whatever the case is, just do it. There are no
Mm.
regrets, and